And you can find the full radio schedule for The Way to a Wonderful Life, which is broadcast live 7 days a week on the radio, 17 times on the internet at www.revbatesontheradio.org. That's www.revbatesontheradio.org. This morning, our Way to a Wonderful Life message is titled, Shine Your Light. Shine Your Light. Now, I have some words here from the mystical Ernest Holmes from his book, This Thing Called You, and that's on page 128 for anyone who has that book. He writes, of course, all people are the sons of God. And we know son in the Aramaic language of Jesus and the culture of Jesus meant part of God, part of the Spirit, that image likeness of God that we all read about in the book of Genesis and the Holy Bible and the Torah. Of course, all people are sons of God, but only a few have completely recognized this. Only a few have prepared their minds to receive this truth with all its meaning, with all its power, with all its majesty, and with all its might. Now you are one of these. You have decided to live as though this were true. A deep and abiding faith has come to you. Therefore you are fortunate among men, and that means fortunate among mankind. Not that God has favored you above others. Rather, you have chosen this path, and you are going to walk in it. You are going to walk in it. That's in the mystical Ernest Holmes. In other words, it's not about God choosing us. It's about us choosing God. Choosing God and choosing the good are synonymous. Now, there are people who will read these words and still not be convinced that this is the truth, even though Jesus said, I am the light of the world, and you are the light of the world. Let your light so shine, he said. We have been conditioned by the world in which we live to feel doubt and to be suspect when words like these come to our attention. Or we feel that people like Krishna and Buddha and Jesus and Moses and Isaiah and Jeremiah and Joel, all these people, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, were perhaps sons of God, but we fail to see evidence of this in our life or the lives of the people around us. And that reason we don't see that evidence is they're not accepting that they are a part of God, a part of the Spirit. After all, aren't there plenty of bad people in the world who do bad things to themselves and to others? So how could this be so? Yet even when we look at some of the people in history who have committed atrocities, we realize that what they did was a choice that they made based on ignorance of what they were and what we all are, which is a part of God. What the mystical Ernest Holmes is telling us is not new. The mastermind Jesus gave us the same teaching over 2,000 years ago. He says, you are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your God, your Father in heaven. Glorify your Father in heaven. So we must go beyond our religion, just as Jesus did, and realize that that light that shines within us, His intelligence, His spirit, and His power is a part of God. And as we think about these words, let your light so shine that people may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. And He tells us the kingdom of God is within us. So in other words, let that light from within your mind, that light that reflects your good desires, that light that reflects your desires to have more joy, more peace, more love, more harmony, more prosperity, more success, more of everything that brings joy into your heart, your mind, and your soul, let that be reflected in your world. And so now we have it. We are the light of the world. And light symbolizes intelligence. The light and love of God are within us, and this means that we have the guidance and the love of God available to us at all times. Each and every one of us can make use of this knowledge by fostering in our consciousness that this is the truth for us, or we can reject it, whichever way we want to go. God has given us the liberty to choose. We can make choices, but our choices always have consequences. This light of God is a light of truth that we can rely on to guide us, to bring to our awareness ideas and solutions for greater success, for greater prosperity, for greater health, or greater anything that we require. Nothing is real to us until we make it real, and this has to happen in our mind first. In reality, we already have every solution to every problem that we may confront. In reality, we already have every idea that we need to prosper and succeed in whatever it is that we choose to do. We must just lift up our awareness to realize them. And so we use our mind to condition our heart and our soul to accept that greater good. Let's look at these words from This Thing Called You from Dr. Ernest Holmes. I know that I am a perfect being now, living under perfect conditions today. Can we say that? We can say it, but will we believe it? We may not believe it today. But we keep saying it, we keep putting it into our mind, we keep putting into that belief system that moves through our heart, our mind, and our soul, and begin to accept it as the truth. Pretty soon we will see it begin to appear in our life experience. Just as we read in the ancient scriptures, as within, so without. And just as Jesus said, the kingdom of God, that is, the kingdom of good is within you, not low here or low there. So I know that I am a perfect being now, living under perfect conditions today, knowing that good alone is real. I know that there is one power, that's God, which acts and reacts in my experience, in my body, and in my thought. I know that good alone has power to either act or react. Everything I do, say, or think today shall be done, said, or thought from this spiritual viewpoint that God, who is life, is in everything, including me. I know that this recognition establishes the law of harmony in my experience. I know that this recognition establishes the law of prosperity in my experience. I know that this recognition establishes a sense of happiness, a sense of peace, a sense of health, and a sense of joy in my experience. Today I hold communion with this invisible presence which peoples the world with the manifestation of its light, and its love. I withdraw the veil which hides my real self and draw close to the Spirit in everything and in everyone. I accept everything that belongs to the Spirit. I claim everything that partakes of its nature. In other words, what it is that we can feel to be real for us soon enough becomes a reality in our life, both spiritual and material. So let us get into the spirit of establishing these words in our consciousness by thinking about them, by taking them into our mind, and silently dwelling on them. Speak our word out loud that I choose to believe. I choose to shine my light, just as Jesus told us, let your light so shine. I let my light shine. I let intelligence shine on the problems and the complexities of my life to realize that simple harmony and joy and spirit and ease of the Spirit within my life and within those things that concern me. I let myself be lifted up in the Spirit, and I believe in myself to a greater measure than I have ever believed before. Can we take that into our mind and say, this is the truth for me? So let us be as bold as the mastermind Jesus in declaring the truth about ourselves and declare that I am one with the only one in the universe. I am one with the only one in the universe. Jesus tells us the Father is a spirit, and we must worship him in spirit and in truth. The Father is a spirit, and we must worship him in spirit and in truth. So let the Spirit of God move through your mind, your heart, and your soul, and as you do, you will realize that that light that shines within you is the very life of God living in you. The living Spirit of God is within you and me right now, right where we are. And we can either recognize it and identify with it, or we can reject it and let ourselves remain ignorant to the truth about our beingness, our reality of who we are and what we're about. Let's all know and let's remember and let's just take this into our mind as the truth. That God has created all of us in his own image and likeness. That this intelligence and spirit that is God clothed our spirit in human form and gave us this gift of life on planet Earth so that we can glorify God, express the Spirit of God in all that we do, express that livingness, that givingness, and that forgivingness of God in all things that concern us. Let's look at these words from the great Dr. Robert Bitzer. This is from his little book, All Power to You. The book is no longer in print, but if you go to revbates.tv and click on Dr. Robert Bitzer, from the bottom of the page. It'll take you to this book, which is, the entire book has been published on RevBates.tv. Dr. Bitzer writes, every breath I draw breathes in the life of God, and I breathe perfectly. My head is purified, strengthened, vitalized as I let this life of God flow through me. Divine love fills my thoughts. All confusion, all doubt, and all fear are cast out. Only love, only peace, only harmony can abide in me. This presence, power, and life of God indwells me right now. I am God's perfect health manifesting in every part of my being. I am an open channel through which this perfect health flows continually. I know this is the word of truth for me. It is all-powerful, having in it everything necessary for its complete fulfillment. I speak this word in divine mind into the Spirit with faith and assurance that God accepts my word and that God responds to me, acts upon my word, and heals my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit. Heals anything that draws me into the shadows of life and negates that light of the Spirit that's within me. My word is the presence and the power of God in me. I am a healing center in God's conscious mind, in the Spirit, God in me. My infinite knowingness reveals to me all that I need to know. I give thanks that this word is established for me and that right now it is complete and it is made manifest in the Spirit. There is nothing in me that believes in lack or any negative thing or any kind about me. There's no confusion in my mind. There's no discord or inharmony because I know the truth. There is no belief in chaos or dis-ease, weakness, or limitation. The truth of my perfection in God, in the Spirit, is revealed to me and established in my experience in all things that I do. I know that each and every day as I open my mind to that which is the truth for me, that the Spirit of God moves through my mind, my heart, and my soul and reigns supreme in all things that I care about, all things that I love, all things that I try to do, all things that I attempt to do are completed, knowing that it is the Father that doeth the work. The Father works and I work, Jesus said. So instead of asking God to give me health, I assume that God, the great creative principle, the presence in me now, is the perfect health filling every part of my being. Instead of asking as though I did not have the thing I desired, I ask believing that I have it now, just as the mastermind Jesus told us to. By realizing that God in me, God is the living Spirit in me, this living Spirit is my health, I simultaneously ask and I shall receive. I know that within my prayer, when it is prayed, is all the elements necessary to bring it through as a manifestation or a reality in my experience. I identify myself in divine mind, in the Spirit, with the specific thing that I desire. Therefore, the Spirit fills me with the realization of its presence. So I lift my thought above my needs. Just as Jesus said, look up and not down. He said, look up, see yourself above your needs, see yourself above all those things in the world that bring discord and disharmony in your mind. Transcend the things of the world and cause something new by lifting your mind up to that higher thought. Lift up your mind and you'll lift up everything around you into a more glorious expression of God, a more glorious expression of the Spirit being made manifest in your life and in your body of affairs. Just take it into your mind that this can be the truth for you as it's been the truth for others, because what God does for one, God does for all. God is no respecter of persons any more than gravity or electricity or mathematics. God favors no one, we align ourselves with the good becomes visible in our lives. As Jesus said, keep your mind stayed on God, on the good, and all things shall be added unto you. All things, peace and harmony and joy, prosperity and health and happiness, loving companionship, creative expression, all things. Let's be careful not to petition God for things. We become conscious of our oneness with God, and our positive word speaks this godness, this goodness into form according to our desire. Jesus had a positive consciousness of his oneness with God, oneness with the good. When he healed, he spoke from this consciousness, giving the specific command. He did not say, can you stretch forth your hand? Nor did he ask, God, give me the power to heal this man's arm. Within this consciousness of power, he said, stretch forth thine hand. Treatment, spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer, effective prayer is the mental acceptance that takes place when we claim our authority and we use it. Just as it tells us in the Holy Scriptures that man has been given dominion and authority, man being the generic for mankind, has been given dominion and authority over those things that concern us, not the things that concern other people. That's their work to do. That's their realization to come into contact with in their mind. But we have dominion and authority over those things that concern us, over those things that concern us. So let's go back to those words of the mystical Ernest Holmes from his book, This Thing Called You. And you can buy this book on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. It's titled This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes, Holmes. He writes, of course, all people are sons of God. All people are part of God, part of the Spirit, the image, likeness of God. But only a few have completely, totally recognized this. Only a few have prepared their minds to receive this truth with all its meaning, with all its power, with all its majesty, with all its might. Now we can be one of those people. We have decided to live as though this were true, and a deep abiding faith has come into our mind, our heart, and our soul this morning. Therefore, we are fortunate among all other people that we come into contact with today, because we are recognizing and identifying ourselves with the Spirit, the living Spirit within us, not our humanness. We realize there's this double thread, that we are spirit, clothed in human form. We are spirit, having a human experience. We're not humans having a spiritual experience. And that's what Jesus identified with, and what Jesus knew, and Buddha knew, Krishna knew, and all came to know. Just as Job tells us in the ancient scriptures, that which I have greatly feared has come upon me. In other words, he knew that as he dwelled in his mind on the things that he feared, that caused the effects of discord and poverty and chaos to happen in his life. He knew it was all in his mind. He took that power of his mind and he misused it and abused those things in his life, abused his body of affairs and his happiness and his joy and his peace and his harmony and his prosperity. And so he received that which he believed. So let's go back and look at these words again from Ernest Holmes. Of course, all people are a part of God, the living Spirit. But only a few have completely recognized this. Only a few have prepared their minds to receive this truth with all its meaning, with all its power, with all its majesty and might. Now we are one of these. We can decide right now to live as though this were true for us, because it is the truth for us. We can have a deep and abiding faith and let it come to our mind, our heart, and our soul dynamically, vitally, radiantly. Therefore, we are fortunate. We are fortunate. Not that God has favored us above others. Rather, we have chosen this path, and we are going to walk in it because we have chosen God. We have decided to let our light so shine, just as Jesus said, let your light so shine. You are the light of the world, he said. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. That's from the Gospel of Matthew 5:14-16. And so now we have it. We are the light of the world, and this light symbolizes intelligence. The light and the love of God is within us right now, right where we are. And this means that we have the guidance and the direction and the love of God available to us at all times. Each and every one of us can make use of this knowledge, make use of this enlightened state of truth by fostering in our consciousness that this is the truth about me. This light of God is a light of truth within me. And I'm going to shine this light intelligently on all things that concern me, and I'm going to transcend those things in the physical and the material and see that the Spirit of God is weaving its way through all things that concern me, responding to my word of faith that God's good is mine today, that God health is my health, that God happiness is my happiness, that God joy is my joy, and God's peace is my peace. Nothing is real to us until we make it real. And this has to happen in our minds first. Not in our brain, in our mind. In reality, we already have every solution to every problem that we may confront. In reality, we already have every idea that we need to prosper and succeed in whatever we choose. We just must lift up our awareness to realize them. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all good things shall be added unto you. So seek it, you shall find. Seek in your mind that right idea, that substance of your faith that shapes and forms all things in our experience. Moves through your mind, your heart, and your soul with ease, bringing forth every good idea, every creative expression of yourself that is necessary for you to feel that this is real for you, that living spirit within you, that light that you're going to shine today, that light is the light of God within us, the light of truth within us. Most of all, let us be grateful that we are becoming ever more aware of the truth that can set us free from the human forms of limitation and lack. Let us be grateful to the Mastermind Jesus and for those who have revealed this greater truth to the world so that we may become aware of it. The most important aspect of God that we must foster and nurture in our consciousness is that God is intelligent, all-knowing, and this all-knowing is within us. We can say with certainty that there is nothing that can obstruct us from the good desires that the Spirit has brought to our awareness and placed in our hearts and our minds. The truth that we know is that our good desires are God desiring for us to reveal its power, its presence, its intelligence in all things that concern us. So as we follow those instructions of the Mastermind Jesus, let's shine our light. Shine your